And this is why I can't stand all these conversations about the downsides of pretty privilege, right? Because not only the vast majority of the examples that they show are things that unattractive women are also experiencing, like sexual harassment, but also the experiences that are unique to beautiful women are nothing compared to what unattractive women have to go on a daily basis, right? Like, there is no more humiliating and dehumanizing experience than living your life as an unattractive woman. Welcome back, my gorgeous viewers and graders. I hope your weekend was packed with warm, sunny vibes and potions that turn men into pigs. And today I want to talk about Circe by Madeline Miller. And as someone who was obsessed and who is still obsessed with Greek mythology, there is a lot I have to say about it. So let's start. The story is a retelling of the mythological figure Circe, who I would say is one of the most legendary and also earliest depictions of witchcraft that we have in Western culture. And in the book, we see how she is the daughter of the Titan Helios and the Oceanic Naiad Perse, and she lives like a stranger, or as a stranger, in her own home, because I would say she's a shameful depiction of everything that she could have been, right? She doesn't have the attractive traits of her mother or the beauty of her mother, and also she doesn't have the powers of Helios or any powers whatsoever. So she lives her life just completely abandoned and neglected, but not only by her own parents, but also her own siblings, who are Aeetes and Parsipae, and then the rest of the court. At the start of the journey, we accompany Circe in her journey of discovering a very devastating truth, and is that both gods and humans will do anything to get some sort of power or some sort of influence. The first example that we see is her mother Perse marrying Helios, who is not only one of the most important titans, but also he is incredibly abusive as a partner and as a parent. We also see it with her brother Aeetes or Parsipae, and the rest of the naiads or the lesser naiads that are with her mother Perse. And the last example that we see at the start of the journey is with Glaucus, who is a mortal fisherman who falls in love with her until she turns him human and then abandons her for another woman, for Scylla. And Circe, blinded by rage and the feeling of betrayal, she uses her newfound powers in order to turn Scylla into a six-headed monster. And once the palace or her court find out that she actually is a witch and she actually has powers, she is forced to exile to the island of Aea. And in there, obviously, she starts feeling quite lonely, or she starts her journey struggling with living by herself. But then once she realizes how calm and peaceful it is to be by yourself and to just enjoy your life existing instead of performing for others or trying to be invisible, she finds herself liberated, and she spends the next centuries just working on her craft and working on her magic and just developing her island to her taste, until she starts meeting quite a lot of famous mythological heroes, right? She meets Hermes, who is one of the gods or one of the Olympians, and takes him as a lover. Then he also meets Daedalus, who is a very important hero, and then Jason and Medea, and later Odysseus, and many more. Getting into the discussion now, when I was creating the script for this video review, I was looking into other people's reviews of the book, and obviously I saw multiple different takes. For example, I saw people mentioning eldest daughter syndrome or family trauma and neglect due to narcissistic parents, which I wholeheartedly agree, right? But I think there is one nuance or like one take that we are completely missing out, and it's the fact that Circe is actually considered ugly, or she is unattractive, right? Because it is shown in the book, or like it is insinuated, that she is as attractive as a normal, as a normal human or mortal human, but as a goddess or as a deity, she is considered unattractive, right? Like Hephaestus level of unattractiveness, because she doesn't have this godly or this deity allure. From the get-go, we see how Circe gets a different treatment than her siblings. Obviously, both Pasiphae and Circe get a different treatment from Aeetes, who is a man, so therefore he doesn't experience the first layer of misogyny. But then when we look at how differently both Pasiphae and Circe are being treated, not only by their parents, but also by the rest of the palace, we see that Circe is being neglected, or is being actively ignored, because she is neither powerful nor attractive, but more specifically because she is not attractive, right? Because Pasiphae doesn't have any powers, but she looks like her mother. She looks attractive. She has all these godly allure, so therefore this beauty can be leveraged, right? That's why Helios doesn't just painfully neglect her or neglect Pasiphae, because he can use this beauty to marry her off to someone else and just create these other connections within the godly world. And obviously with Circe, this neglect and this abandonment has created a very thick wall or mask of independence, but in reality we see how lonely she is, right? We see how she desires for connection in any sort of way with her brother, or with Pasiphae, her other sister, or with any men, right? That's why we first meet Glaukos, who is the mortal fisherman. As a deity, she knows that she shouldn't be meeting with mortals, or that she is above mortals in general, even as a lesser god. But her need for connection and her need to get rid of her loneliness makes her connect with Glaukos. And this is why we see the start of like this very intense need to connect with men, right? We see it with Glaukos, we see it with Hermes, we see it with Odysseus, and then we see it with Telemachus. We see how in all the relationships that she has, she starts like this relationship very much detached of the relationship. She doesn't want to show off how much she cares about the person, or how intensely she is feeling this sense of love and attachment, but then also at the same time she wants to have this sort of vulnerability, and this is how we see Circe like in the first relationship with Glaukos. We see how she is fearful, but then also is so desperate for this connection to stop feeling lonely, that she just shoves herself into the relationship until it's too late, and then she realizes that she has been used. This is the same thing with both Hermes and Odysseus, right? We see with Hermes, for example, that she very clearly has a wall of independence and the attachment, right? Because she has been scarred by Glaukos. So even though she does have feelings for Hermes, she doesn't show them, because she knows that Hermes will use these feelings against her. And same thing with Odysseus, because even though she clearly has feelings for her, for him, and then Odysseus has feelings for her, she is the mistress, she is not the wife. So obviously they have to detach themselves from each other, or she has to detach herself, because she knows for a fact that she is not a forever thing, or she is not the wife. She is just someone who Odysseus passes the time with. Basically, a grosso modo, I would say that Circe becomes or embodies this idea of lonely woman with her cats, right? Like this spinster type of figure. Because I would say the idea that these men have, or like the vast majority of the men that she's with, they have this sort of sense that Circe will give them anything they want if they treat her with some sort of bare minimum respect, or if they just tolerate her, right? And it's true, because that's what happens in the book, right? We see how Hermes just literally barely tolerates her and gives her some sort of updates, and then he becomes her lover, or how Odysseus treats her with normal kind respect, and then they become lovers because she has been scarred not only by Glaucus but all the other men that come and try to rape her. And I think the sense of Odysseus coming into the island and being like, actually guys, that is quite disrespectful, you shouldn't be raping these women, or you shouldn't be raping women in general, then it's like, actually he is different and he is someone who is worth it. And this is exactly how many men view ugly women, right? Because if we look into men's behavior or into men's ideology, right, we have this thick layer or this thick membrane of misogyny, and then all women go through this membrane, right? And obviously women, I would say, in the men's head are separated into two categories, which I would say is women I want to fuck, women I don't want to fuck, right? Because in many men's view, women are only treated as objects, or women are just something that they can use, right? Obviously, it's not all men. I am not generalizing, but that's something that I see in my many years of dealing with men. So I would say men very quickly categorize women just solely by would I fuck her or not. And I would say this is something that we see in all the male characters in the story, right? We see how all the lovers or all the men that are not related to Circe either just completely ignore her, or only fuck her in the down low, or like use her in the down low and don't really want to show that they are interested, right? Whereas obviously her family or the male relatives that she has, they just completely ignore her because obviously they can't or they shouldn't actually use her or think of her as a sexual object. And this is the actual root of the problem, right? Because yes, as an attractive woman, you still experience this membrane or this layer of misogyny, right? You still get harassed in the street or catcalled. You still have to live in a patriarchy, but so do unattractive women. Like, that is not just an exclusive experience that you live, right? And then when you pass this membrane and you get into the category of things I would like to smash, right, then you receive or you get these sort of benefits. Obviously they are very much nuanced, because at the end of the day, these benefits only come with your they come with like a lot of pegs around them, because they come with this sense of, oh, if I am nice, or if I show that I am kind to these women that I want to smash, I will get the benefits, or I will get I will possibly get to smash her. Yes, I do understand that this is a reality, and at the end of the day, it is quite sad that you're being treated like you're just being treated as a human being because they want to smash or they want to fuck you. But then when you look into the other side, right, and you get put into the category of things I do not want to smash, then things completely change and things get even more gruesome, right? Because not only you get this, like, you pass through the thick layer of misogyny, but also you are not getting any sort of humanly treatment by many men, because they don't want anything to do with you. They don't see you as an object. They see you as something they want to discard, or something that they shouldn't be touching and they don't want to be around. Because that's the thing, I don't think many of you women that are in this category and have been all your life, I don't think you understand what happens in the other side, right? What happens if you are in the unfuckable category. Let me just give you some examples of my personal existence, because yes, now I could say that I am okay, right? I am not the most attractive person in the world, but I am a former ugly and weird girl, right? I spent my whole teenage years just completely single as a Pringle, and yeah, it was a whole thing. But some of the things that have happened in my life, especially during my preteen and teenage years, is talking to guys, for example, but talking to guys for hours on my phone or on my social media, but then they completely ignore me in school, for example, because they don't want to be seen with me. That's something that is a very common experience with ugly women, obviously being kept in the down low. Also, one example that I could say is many times that I would go out for clubbing, for example, or just straight up drinking with my friends with my friends back then who were way more attractive than me. I will completely get ignored. Like, I will get completely ignored by the guys. They will be talking to my friends, and like, even the first time you meet someone, right, the nice thing to do or the normal thing to do is say like, oh, my name is whatever, and like, very nice to meet you, right? They would literally skip me because they are not interested in knowing my name, because they don't see me as a human being or as an object that they can use, right? I am just something they need to discard. There are so many more other things that unattractive women experience, not only by men, but also by attractive women themselves as well, right? That's why we have the pick-me's. But I would say, I don't think they understand, or I don't think attractive women understand that this is something that happens like in a social level, right? It's not only these very like specific case scenarios in your lifetime, right? It's something that is like, it's so general, it feels like society is actually rejecting you, because it is, right? And this is why I would say, like, it's a very common occurrence in the unattractive women side, right? We see how we are being mistreated by society in general because they have these bias, and because we are expected as women to be as attractive as we can, or to be as good looking for other people, and to perform as these attractive women, right? That's why we do surgeries, or that's why plastic surgery exists in the first place, because we have this pressure to look good and to perform this attractiveness and become the other side of the categories, right? That's why, like, the fashion industry, the diet culture industry, or even the skincare and cosmetics industry are some of the most powerful industries in capitalism and in this society, because we have created a world where being unattractive or not being conventionally attractive is actually a danger to you, and it's actually something that you have to remediate. As a quick conclusion, obviously I don't want to diminish people's suffering, right? Because at the end of the day, I do understand that there is another side of being pretty or being part of this category, right? But you will never convince me that someone who has experienced attractiveness all their lives will ever understand what it is to be dehumanized by 50% of the population, and then the other 50% doesn't actually really treat you like a human, because you are not part of that group, and you are part of a competition, which is misogyny, internalized misogyny, right? So at the end of the day, yes, I do understand that there are downsides of pretty privilege, but you will never suffer as an ugly woman suffers. That's all for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope this gave you some insights about what we call the beauty penalty. And if you are an ugly woman, just reunite over here. Like, you are more than welcome here. We are sisters together. I would love to know some of your experiences, someone who has also had these experiences. What is the craziest thing that you have experienced as someone who is unattractive? I could be talking for hours about the things that have happened, right? Or the things that I have experienced because a man was not attracted to me. But yeah, I would love to know yours, because every time I speak with other girls that are in the same category as me, we are concerned for our safety, and we obviously tend to just say men are trash, but also we get a good love out of it. So yes, tell me, what are the things that have happened to you because you were deemed unattractive? And then for the attractive girls, obviously this is not your fault. At the end of the day, this is just due to misogyny. But yeah, I would love to understand, how do you view the experience of an attractive woman as someone who has been attractive all their lives? I will leave you for today. I hope you had fun. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. And please don't forget to either like and subscribe to my channel, and then follow me on my social media. I just post there regularly. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.